All right. Well, hello everyone, and welcome. Welcome to the Arkansas District Export Council's webinar for the day. Today's topic is very near and dear to my heart: EXIM Bank and SBA resources for exporters. We're fortunate to have two wonderful experts with us today. See, I keep saying exports, but you guys are experts. You're an expert in exports. Joining us from the EXIM Bank, we have Eric Miller, and from the SBA, we have Jeremy Foreman. Thank you both for being here today. My name is Jonathan Bricker, and I'm the chair of the Arkansas District Export Council. In my primary role, I work for Regions Bank, located in Rogers, Arkansas, and I'm a commercial relationship manager. Speaking from experience, we lean heavily on both EXIM and the SBA. I want to begin today by thanking our sponsors, Arkansas Manufacturing Solutions, who is a part of the Arkansas Workforce Connections. Um, their sponsorship and their partnership throughout the year is what makes these webinars so successful. I really appreciate you all joining us today. For those of you who aren't quite sure who the deck is and what we do, please allow me to do a quick introduction. We are a private nonprofit organization that brings together experienced international business people with potential exporters. Each deck member has been appointed by the U.S. Secretary of Commerce for our real-world expertise in international trade. We have a ton of experience throughout the council in many different sectors. Now, having said that, that doesn't mean we have all the answers, but we can introduce you to someone who does. We are a community of connections within the exporting world, and we want to be your strategic partner to help you grow your bottom line. My hope for the day is that you walk away from this webinar with a little bit more confidence in your exporting abilities. If you have any questions throughout the webinar and you don't feel comfortable asking it here, I invite you to reach out to us at our website, exportarkansas.org, and we'll have one of our members reach out to you. There, you can also sign up for our monthly newsletter, which is chock full of pertinent international news and trade show opportunities. I also want to bring to your attention and invite you to attend or even help sponsor our 15th Annual Governor's Award for Excellence in Global Trade. We are hosting this Friday, October 17th, and it is a luncheon with a network reception for the Arkansas business community, and it takes place at Robinson Hall in downtown Little Rock. This award recognizes the export success of Arkansas's manufacturing, agricultural, and service companies that are actively trading in international markets. There's typically a room full of business people, economic developers, state secretaries, and even some international business college students, which is always fun to have them there. So feel free to reach out to us if you're interested in learning a little bit more about the ceremony. Before we begin, I just want to remind everyone to please keep yourselves muted. And if you'll raise your hand or simply put a question in the chat, we'll be sure to get to those. I'd like to introduce everyone to your moderator today, Mr. Rudy Ortiz. Rudy is the owner of Strategic Business Services, LLC, where he helps companies with a wide variety of international business and exporting needs. Rudy works alongside companies entering new markets and is a U.S. partner of Global Entry Consultants, which is a group of experts located throughout 32 countries. With an MBA in international business, he is a certified global business professional. For these reasons, he is the DEX Education Chair. Rudy, I'll turn it over to you, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you so much, Jonathan. You know, in any kind of business, and certainly in the case of international business, uh, capital is really the one thing that you can't do without in order to expand your business. That's just the one thing that is a struggle for most companies is getting enough funding to be able to invest in their growth and in particular their international growth. And so by having both Jeremy and Eric here today with expertise in terms of SBA of funding on the international level or for international efforts, and the part of Eric with the Export-Import Bank of the U.S., you're going to get a lot of great information so that you can know how to access those programs and use them. One of the things you want to do when you can is use somebody else's money if you can. The banks and all of that, because you need to save your capital for those things that the banks won't fund. So be smart. Uh, Pay attention to what these guys are saying. They're absolute experts in their fields, and you're going to be able to get lots of great information that's going to give you the resources that you need to be able to grow your business. If with that, if Ms. Heidi will put up the slides of these two great guys. Oh, I'll tell you what. Why don't you go ahead and go back, if you please would, to the poll that you had up a second ago. Um, we would like to try to find out where you're at in terms of knowledge and usage of these two federal agencies, the EXIM Bank and SBA. And if Ms. Heidi, if you would put that up so that they can let us know where they're at on that.
Ah, excuse me, I'm having some technical difficulties.
Ah, oh, okay,
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Well, maybe we'll cover.
Technical difficulties. If you could just put your answer in the chat, that would probably be the best, easiest thing at the moment.
Okay, yeah, that'll work. Yeah, we're just trying to have a sense of how much expertise the group has in terms of utilizing either of these two federal agencies. That might direct the conversation a little bit. And so if you'll put that in the chat, that would be great. Okay, Miss Heidi, why don't you go ahead and go to uh, our first featured speaker is going to be Eric, and he's, as it says here, the regional director of the Export Import Bank out of Houston. And he's got a lot of experience in this field. If I remember correctly, I think he's been doing it like since 2017 or something like that with the Export Import Bank. So he's got some great background in that. And in talking to him and utilizing his services in the past, I've been really impressed about the amount of information that he can provide to all of us. And so, Eric, thank you so much. And if we can have Mr. Jeremy's slide now. And so as it turns out, Jeremy is actually originally from just outside of New Orleans, but he's in Houston now, and he's the export trade and finance manager. And so he's a money guy as well. He's got several years with the SBA and in the international field. And once again, great guy, and he's going to be able to be a great resource for you. So with that, Eric, why don't you go ahead and take it from here?
I appreciate that, Rudy. Hi, everybody. Eric Miller here, Regional Director for EXIM Bank. Can you see my screen? Okay.
I can. Yes,
Okay,
sir.
great. So I'm looking here on the screen. I think we're small enough, guys, as we go through the presentation. If there's any questions, pop in and ask, unmute yourself and ask, put it in the chat box. Let's make this more of maybe a conversation, since we can be kind of small and intimate in this setting. And I'm happy to pause whatever I'm talking about and answer any questions if anything comes up. So keep that in mind as I navigate the slides. So Regional Director for EXIM Bank, I cover exporters in the states of Texas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, and Louisiana. So obviously we're focusing on Arkansas today. And as a regional director, my day-to-day is to work with companies in those territories and providing them access to our products and educate them on how to use these products to their advantage and grow a company. I was a prior small business owner, as a minority shareholder of a company before joining the bank, and was a customer of EXIM Bank and used all the products that we offer from a private sector exporter. And it was instrumental in our growth. It was the reason we were able to grow as quickly as we did. But we were also an energy company, energy equipment company. So we're tied to the oil swings as Houston often is. So when times are good, they're great. When times are bad, they're not. And there was one of the downturns in the 2010, 11, 12 is when I decided it was time for a new opportunity, and I was really excited to advocate for this bank. So we're a small federal agency. We've got around 300 employees. Most are in DC. We do have a dozen regional offices. As I mentioned, I'm in the Houston regional office, and we cater to certain territory. But the mission of the bank really hasn't changed in the last 91 years, and that's to create jobs, American jobs, through exporting American-made products and services. So if you're selling a U.S. made good or service, we have financial products to help you become more competitive. So before we get into the product lineup, I also like to talk about the why of exporting. I'm sure Jeremy's also got some great statistics that he's going to share. Some of the ones that we focus on at EXIM Bank is not many companies are exporting, right? So we've got 1%, usually less than 1% of companies that are exporting. And meanwhile, if we look at the world as a pie, 95% of the buyers are not here, they're out there. So not a lot of companies are doing it. The majority of customers are outside of our country. And you know what those two things tell me right away is that you could have a competitive advantage in doing what no one else is doing, and that's focusing on exporting. The ways that we can help is we kind of got three core products that haven't changed much. We do have initiatives occasionally, which we have two in place right now, but the three core products have been kind of the cornerstone of the bank for the last several decades. One of them is credit insurance, which is the first one. Credit insurance is exactly as it sounds. So when you sell a product or service that's U.S. made, majority U.S. made, I should say to be specific, to a foreign company on terms, on open account terms, we have insurance policies in place to protect you from default. So in other words, you sell some kind of widget, whether it's a product or a service, you perform the service and you bill it on open account, net 30, 60, 90, et cetera. We can protect it from default. We underwrite you, we underwrite the buyer. Once approved, you can ship your product, perform your service, bill it on terms, and know that we've got your back if something goes wrong and your customer doesn't pay. Because it really, quite frankly, it's the number one reason U.S. companies aren't absorbing more international sales, is because when money moves hands, the conversation tends to get a little tricky because, you know, the exporter can't always demand cash in advance, right? You can't always say, wire me the money, I'll ship you the product. That's risky for the buyer. The buyer says, no, ship me the product, I'll wire you the money. And we see this back and forth conversation, and then deals tend to just fall to the wayside because they can't agree on how money moves. So if it's a deal or no deal, and your buyer says, you know, ship me the product on open account, bring it to us so you can ship it on open account, we can protect it from default. And we'll do a deeper dive on that throughout the slides. Working capital is a second. And the thing I would say with Jeremy, with the SBA being on this panel as well, is if your needs are above 5 million, we can help you below 5 million. Jeremy's got some really good products. The third one there is if you're selling capital equipment, we have a finance product to get your buyers in another country a loan to buy your capital equipment. So the first one, just to kind of do a deeper dive on each one of these products, credit insurance. So again, you're selling on open account to a foreign company. We protect it from default. So obviously it takes away the risk. These are kind of the three aspects of what credit insurance is. Risk mitigation, right? We take away the risk of non-payment. Equally of importance, it's a sales tool. How many more deals are you going to get because you're selling on an open account? That's very favorable to your buyer. So if it's very favorable to them, you're obviously going to get more deals. So it's a sales tool. And the other thing there, financing aid. To be very blunt, U.S. banks hate the word export, right? It's very risky to banks. So when you bring foreign receivables to a U.S. bank and say, hey, I need to borrow against this, they'll generally, not always, but generally they'll tell you no, you know, and Jonathan can attest to that. I see him popping in there. Banks tend to see export sales as higher risk, and in being higher risk, it makes lending less desirable, right? So we want to make lending more desirable by offering insurance on receivables. So then you can go to Jonathan and say, hey, now that I got an EXIM insurance, can I borrow against it? And he'll like to have that conversation with you.
Yeah, absolutely. It makes our clients become more bankable, if you will.
Thank you. Thank you for that validation. So here's kind of the spectrum of risk here on how to get paid. And I like this because it's a nice and easy slide, very simple. There's really four ways. When you have a foreign company and you're trying to get paid on the deal, you could say, wire me the money. And these are the spectrums of risk, right? For the seller risk on top, buyer risk on bottom. So you got wire me the money on top there for the seller, top left. Not really a risk to you, but it's a high risk to them, right? But if you sell an open account, it's a high risk to you and a low risk to them. And then in between, you got some other options like letters of credit, cash against documents. But most of the time, it's cash in advance or open account. Those are the two kind of primary ways we see exporters getting paid. So I show you this slide because with the insurance on the receivable, we're putting both buyer and seller in low risk. We're putting the seller in low risk because we're insuring the open account, so it's going from high to low, and then the buyer stays at a low risk because they're getting the product, generally speaking, before they even have to pay the exporter. So it makes a transaction, an international trade transaction, low risk for both buyer and seller when there's an insurance policy in place. We got a couple different options. We got four different policies, and it's kind of generally speaking, do you want to go with a multi-buyer or a single buyer? What we mean by that is, do you want to insure all of your foreign receivables, or do you kind of want to pick and choose which ones you want to insure? And there's varying options and costs for both. The multi-buyer is usually the better value policy because you get 95% coverage. And when I say coverage, if you ship $100,000 of product on terms you don't get paid and we pay that out, you get 95% of what's due to you, or 95,000 out of the 100. There's no deductible on either one of them. The single buyer is 90% versus 95. The premium to insure the sale is generally more for the single buyer and less for the multi-buyer. So it just kind of depends on what your needs are. Do you want to pick and choose, or do you want to do all of them? So when to apply for a policy, generally speaking, we like to see a discussion, a conversation taking place between buyer and seller on how money is going to move before you apply. You can set up a speculative policy. Our underwriters usually prefer to have some kind of buyer in mind, though. So I would say, the earliest is when, I'm in the next 60, 90 days, I'm planning on selling on open account to a foreign buyer, and I want to apply because it does take a couple weeks to get it set up. So set it up 60, 90 days out, and then you got it in place. We approve you, we approve your buyer. Once you got a policy, then you offer the credit to your buyer. Buyer says, yep, let's do it. You ship it, you go into our online portal, report it. You pay the premium attached to that invoice because it's a per shipment premium that you pay. So let's say you want to go with our small business multi-buyer policy. The premium would be 0.55% for terms up to 60 days. So let's say you sell net 60 to Colombia, $50,000. The cost would be 0.55 or $275, and that will insure 95% of the 50,000. So in my opinion, small price to pay. You sleep at night, you get the deal, and everybody's happy. If your buyer doesn't pay, you put a claim into EXIM, and then we pay you 90 or 95%. These are the two buckets of risks. Do we have any questions, by the way, Heidi, while I'm going through this?
We have a question for Jonathan, actually. Does
we can cover that a bit later.
Okay.
But in terms of a question to you, no.
Okay, good. I just want to pause and make sure there isn't anything I need to address. So there's two buckets of risk that we covered, the commercial and the political. And you can see kind of the breakdown of what we mean by that. It covers a good, variety of what we see as default. In the third one there under commercial risk, protracted default, that just means delinquent payment. So if you sell a net 60 that they don't pay on the due date, and after the wait period expires, which is 90 days, you can file a claim under protracted default, which is delinquent payment. Now, the bottom there is very important. We do not cover contractual dispute. Okay, so If you're selling a product or service, it has a certain kind of specification to it. The buyer gets it, says, hey, this is not, I ordered apples, you're giving me oranges. It's not what that kind of contractual dispute has to be settled before any claim can be filed. So make sure whatever you're selling is what they're buying. And, it's very rare. I should start with that. It's very rare for us to see a contractual dispute because usually what they're selling is what they're buying. So we have a working capital loan guarantee, and Jeremy's going to talk about a lot about his that goes up to 5 million. This one has the EXIM guarantee has no ceiling. The idea behind it is when you go to a bank and you're looking for working capital, say you're a manufacturer and you need to borrow some money to make something for an export order, going back to high risk transactions, banks are reluctant to lend. So we step in as a guarantor, a co-signer essentially, and say, hey, if this company meets the credit standards, then go ahead and give them the money they're asking for, and we'll co-sign on that loan. So we're a guarantor on a working capital line of credit for an exporter so they can fulfill these export purchase orders. And we take away the bank's risk. So this is the bank's ability to lend you working capital with our co-signature alongside the borrower, our guarantee to get you access to money to fulfill these export orders. And this is kind of how the process works. So again, we're not the lender, right? It's the banks, it's Jonathan, it's the banks doing the lending. We're just guaranteeing the repayment to them. Same thing with the SBA. We're a guarantor to open up access to money so you can use that money to fulfill these POs, these export POs. So, get with a bank that understands international finance. You got one here today, and they'll help you. So some of our go ahead, Rudy.
Eric, I was just going to say that I'm glad that you kind of made that point that understands international trade because many banks do not. They rely maybe on other larger banks to be able to facilitate anything that has to do with international business. And so it really is important to have somebody that has an international department that understands and does that kind of work on a daily basis.
Super important point. Yeah, super important point. I can tell you going back to my exporter days, I'd get letters of credit coming in from Africa, and I'm on the phone trying to find a U.S. bank to confirm the letter of credit, and I'm talking the LC language, and I remember there was this one case like, hold up, and this is the customer service relationship manager at the bank. He said, hold up, I don't even understand anything you're saying. You got the wrong bank. Call a different bank. So there's a lot of that out there, and it's very important to know what bank you're dealing with and to know that they understand international trade because it's an animal of its own. And if you're not dealing with the right partners, there's going to be problems along the way.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for putting that out there, Eric. As well as facilitating the actual movement of funds. That's
absolutely.
That's there too.
Very important. Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you got a customer saying, I want to wire you money for your product, and then you got your bank saying, I can't take wires from that country or that bank. I mean, that's a problem of its own, right? So, yeah. So some of our restrictions here, we can't do military defense related products or buyers. There's some exceptions like dual use, drug interdiction, humanitarian. So we do occasionally get exceptions to these. It's got to ship from the U.S., U.S. made products shipped from the U.S. and out of roughly 200 countries, we are open in 180. We got a nice little website called our country limitation schedule. So if you go to exim.gov and search country limitation schedule, you'll get a web page that looks like the screen here on the computer. And you just pick your country. You pick your country and it'll tell you whether we're open or closed for business in that country. Sometimes there's restrictions, and just side message me if there's some restrictions like, hey, what does this mean for me? And I'll be happy to explain that to you in non-government language. Eligibility criteria. So again, first bullet point's near and dear to our heart. We're trying to stimulate manufacturing in our country. So in doing so, whatever you're selling, if it's a product or service, it's got to be majority greater than 50% U.S. content. and that's on your cost. So if you're selling something for $100, it costs you 70. We're going to look at the 70 and say $36 of it needs to be U.S. content. We like to see you be in business for 3 years. If you're not, it's not the end of the world. We've got some waivers. If you're a year and a half in, 2 years in, you're doing well, let's talk about how we can still help you. The next two are just number, like DUNS number, pretty common. UEI number. So this is something that 3 or 4 years ago, the federal government is requiring of all federal agencies now that are working with private sector companies. So we're giving you what's called a financial award, which is how they view it, with credit insurance or a working capital guarantee. You got to go to sam.gov and get this UEI number. You just apply it. It's free. It could be a headache to apply, and if it is a headache to you, circle back with me. We'll get our customer care team in DC involved, and they can help you through the process. And then the last point there, right? It's whatever you're asking for has to make sense, right? So I occasionally get the call, hey, I'm an exporter trying to export, $100 million of crude to Nigeria, but I'm a $50,000 a year revenue company. Well, that doesn't make sense. Why would you be involved in that? So it's got to make sense. That's really what that's about. And there's where you can find me. My mobile number's on top, email, website. Feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions now or later. We're here to help. And I'll turn it back over to you, Rudy. How you doing, Jonathan?
Thanks much. One of the things that I want to actually mention is one of the things that you covered at the very, very beginning, and that is you're doing business with a country, and because of the interest rates being very high there, it's not feasible to do business perhaps. I'll give you a great example, and there's plenty of them. Brazil. Brazil, for as long as I can remember, if they went to the bank in Brazil, it is extremely common for the interest rates to be in the 35% APR. I mean, we complain about 9%. And for years and years that I can remember, Brazil's been at about 35. Well, of course, that puts a real damper in buying a product if you're having to pay that kind of interest. So the fact that EXIM might be able to be of help to in essence fund the purchase of the product, your product for the individual in Brazil or anywhere else where that situation exists, I mean, it's huge. So, because otherwise they'd have to go to their bank, borrow at 35% or some other outrageous interest rate, and not be able to buy your product. So that's something that you definitely want to look at, and is a tremendous advantage to have access to.
Appreciate that. Yep, absolutely. Couldn't agree more. Are there any questions?
I don't see any questions at this moment in terms of directed to you.
Okay.
But I guess this might be a good time just to perhaps Jonathan can address the question. Mickey is asking whether Regions Bank offers LOCs and third-party escrow services. So you might get on the chat with him and answer that particular question. But
Yeah, I mean, the short answer is yes on both. Letters of credit are a function of lending per se, but then the third party escrow, I believe that's what we deem to be documentary collections, where you've got the bill of lading, the invoice, and everything else, and you don't release the product until the bank says yes, you can. So that those are definitely two products that we can execute. So happy to talk offline on that.
super. So I think what we'll do now, and thank you, Eric, for that great presentation, good information, and of course, as Eric said, There's his contact information. You might want to take a picture of it so to make sure that you have it. And now we will go to Mr. Jeremy Foreman.
All right, thank you. Hey, Eric, I'm going to send you a request real quick to share.
No problem.
All right.
Yeah, Jeremy's gonna get on in just a second here.
Okay, there we go.
All right. So, hello, everyone. I'm Jeremy Foreman, Regional Finance Manager with the SBA, Office of Manufacturing and Trade. Excited to be here with you all this evening, right? And I want to thank you, Rudy and Heidi, and for putting this together and sending the invite. So I appreciate it, as well as Jonathan. Thank you as well. And in my presentation, basically, what I want to share is, what the SBA the resources the SBA has to for you to support you in your export journey, and all of our partners that we work with as well. Let you know there's a big ecosystem out there that's ready to support you in your export business. Within the Office of Manufacturing and Trade, we are tasked with growing small business exporters and growing total volume of exports, right? Within the United States government, we would like to work hard every day, right, to reduce the U.S. trade deficit. So, offices like my office within the Office of Manufacturing and Trade, which was previously the Office of International Trade, is tasked with doing that, as well as EXIM and others, to provide assistance so that you all can be successful and have a successful business exporting. My role as a regional finance manager is to provide local support to lenders, help them understand our programs, help them with structuring deals and also underwriting deals, and provide counseling and training to you as the small business owners. And so we all work together. I'm kind of like the middleman to kind of help these deals go smoothly, and to also increase the chances of these deals getting done with providing knowledge of our programs. As we know, 98% of exporters are small business. So small business is important, right? It's the lifeblood of our economy, and we want to help you to grow bigger, right, and grow larger in scale, right? And to do that, we got to get you beyond the borders, and to understand that 95% of consumers live outside of the U.S. So in all likelihood, it's probably a good idea that you at least consider or look at, how can I take my business and grow it bigger by participating in exporting. I tell you, it's going to help your business to grow much faster in 10 years longer, and 3 times the employees and 2 times the sales is what we're seeing. So definitely, I know you're on the call, so it must be an interest, and we would definitely like to speak with you and talk with you to see how we can help. Some of the challenges that we hear from non-export businesses, some of the challenges that we hear, the top one is don't know much about it, right? So that's why we appreciate the deck and others that put on events like this so that we can share the information on the resources available, so that you can know that you're not at it alone, right? There's plenty of resources available to be able to assist you. I don't have goods and or services that are exportable, right? And a lot of times, we take it for we take it for granted. We live in the U.S., so everything is at our fingertips, and it's so easily accessible. But we're in the greatest country in the world. So, but there's others, that other countries that do not have what is so easily accessible to us, and that you can use and start a business with and be successful. So we got to keep that in mind as well. And there's many others. I'll share my presentation with the deck so you can go through this and understand how you can overcome these challenges. So from let's say top challenges and requests from exporters, right? Small businesses that are exporting. A lot of times they get so wrapped up in their business, right? Because they want it to grow, and rightfully so. And so we just, some of the feedback we get back, is make more training, make more export training assistance, establish export taxes incentives, make a one-stop shop for exporting assistance offerings, right? So again, the deck is putting on this event where you can learn from, what's available through EXIM. We talked about the credit insurance and how that was able to assist you. And they also offer a working capital program. In the SBA, we have, I'm the finance arm of the Office of Manufacturing and Trade, and we offer another part of the finance program, as well as a trade policy group, right? Within the Office of Manufacturing and Trade, you have questions about trade and tariffs and things like that. We have a trade policy group that can assist you as well to answer any of your questions. So, these are just some of the, the highlights of what we receive back, feedback that we receive from small business exporters. See, one of them is maintain export. One of them said on here, it said about make sure they can sleep at night, wondering about how they're going to get paid. And so Eric kind of laid that out in his presentation, right? The credit insurance is going to allow you to have that peace of mind that, hey, I'm going to receive receive payment back for the goods or services that I provide. So that's good to know, and it kind of can give you a calming feeling on that with doing business abroad. And counseling and training, right? SBA has many different resource partners and that we work with, right? We have small business development centers, right? That can help you with, financial planning, your business plans, and helping you make sure that your business is ready to begin exporting. And they even can provide you with a export ready assessment, right? Where you can take it and depending on the results, we know what you need, if you're ready, or if you need more assistance in a particular area. And then from there, we can kind of get you into the ecosystem and get you to the right person or a resource partner to be able to assist you. We also have SCORE, right? SCORE is basically retired professionals that are giving you, that have done probably what you're trying to do, have exported, have been in many different parts of business where they can assist you, right? They have a lot of knowledge that they're ready to share with you, and it's free information, right? That they can help you to avoid different roadblocks or provide you and help you how to learn how to navigate your business. There's the CDCs. The UZX stands for the United States Export Assistance Center. That is who is on this call today, right? We have EXIM is part of the UZAC as well as the SBA, and the third arm of the UZAC is U.S. Commercial Services, where they can provide assistance to you on a particular market that you have interest on entering, or provide the Gold Key service where they can potentially match you with potential buyers, right, of your products or services. So they'll get you, one-on-one meetings with your buyers, potential buyers. So it's a lot of resources there available, and the Community Navigator Program, the Veteran Business Outreach Centers, and Women's Business Centers. And there's many more, but these are just a few. and then the access to capital, right? I want to talk, this is where I come in at. Once you're ready to, your business is ready to borrow money and you're ready to move forward, take that next step. The SBA has finance programs, right? We have our 7(a) loan guarantee program. That's a big hit. Most lenders participate in our 7(a) programs. Also the 504 development company loan programs, more for real estate. And then there's other programs, the micro loan program, community advantage, different programs that can meet you where you are, right? Because every business won't need to borrow $5 million or $2 million or $1 million, right? And so we want to meet you where you are. We want to make sure that we have every type of lender that can provide funding, right? You may need $100,000, right? And the way lenders look at it is it's the same amount of work to go for a $100,000 loan as it is for a $5 million loan. So a lot of the larger lenders may not want to do the deal, but we do have micro lenders and community lenders that participate in the program that we can try to get you connected with to get you the funding that you'll need. So again, Eric kind of touched on this in his presentation. So the SBA, we do not lend directly. We provide loan programs for lenders to utilize and offer them a guarantee on that particular loan program. Those guarantees range, right? It depends on what the loan program is and dollar amount sometimes. But they can range from 75% to 90% on the total loan amount, basically saying that if something was to happen where the small business was unable to pay the lender back the money in total, then the SBA would step in and pay up to the guaranteed portion of the loan amount back to the lender. So it mitigates a lot of their risk, which makes it a lot easier for them to lend to our small businesses, provide them a little bit more incentive. So that's kind of how the SBA programs work. What are those SBA programs, right? In terms of exporting, we have the Export Working Capital Loan Program. It's one of our biggest programs. It's a revolving line of credit. It can go up to $5 million and it can be structured in two different ways, being asset-based line of credit or transaction-based line of credit. And Jonathan can tell you Regions is a big player in this program and utilize it a lot, right? They were awarded Lender of the Year several times for the Export Working Capital Program. So we appreciate that. But how the asset-based and transaction-based would work basically is, I'd say if it was an asset-based line where it allows you to be more compete in competitive situations, right? In terms where you are in competitive deals and you have to offer maybe 60-day terms or 90-day terms to get to win the business. Well, you can do that under these programs because we allow under this revolving line of credit, the way it's structured is you can borrow up to 90% on your AR, on your accounts receivables, right? So you gave favorable terms to the buyer, but that money is still available to you. You're not waiting on it to come in before you can go out and do new business, right? So as well as inventory, right? You see like tariffs, new tariffs was coming, right? So a lot of businesses probably stocked up a little bit more inventory because they didn't want to pay all of the tariffs, right? So under this loan program, you can borrow up to 75% of your own inventory. So it allows you to be a lot more flexible. It also supports letters of credit. And then we have the where it's transaction based, right? You're just starting exporting and you haven't built up your AR to an amount that you feel it's healthy enough to be able to borrow against. but you were able to win a purchase order or a contract, then we can help you. We can set up a transaction-based line of credit where you're able to borrow, your 100% of your costs on those purchase orders or contract, right? So basically, you're essentially doing business without utilizing your own cash. So the SBA, under this program, the lender would advance you either 100% of your cost or 90% of the total purchase order, whichever is less. Either way, you're not using your own cash to fill these orders. So this is a great program to allow you to be able to grow internationally in your business. The International Trade Loan Program is a term loan program that also goes up to $5 million. And it's used mostly for real estate purchases. You can go up to 25 years on real estate. If you need some type of machinery or equipment for your business to help you produce or manufacture your product or service. If you're needing to, business acquisitions or debt refinance, International Trade Loan can assist you with that. And again, it's a term loan. We also have the Export Express program. So many lenders that have delegated authority to participate in the Export Express program the SBA allows them to approve these deals in-house, right? So this one goes up to $500,000 because it doesn't come back to the SBA for approval. So we just want to provide a faster avenue for you to get the funds. So we allow the lenders and give them delegated authority to be able to process these in-house. And it basically can take the form of any of the two loans that I just previously talked about. It can be a revolving credit or a term loan, and it can provide ABL funding, transaction-based funding. It can support real estate. It can support machinery and equipment, debt refinance, and business acquisitions, and support it all. So that's how the Export Express program will work. And then one of our newly produced programs is our working capital pilot program, where it just was released last year. And basically how it works is it can support you domestically and internationally. So a lot of exporters also do business domestically, of course. So here's where you can have one credit facility, revolving line that can support both domestic and international transactions. And basically it'll definitely work the same way the Export Working Capital program worked. In terms of how it's utilized being ABL or transaction based, but the lenders, lenders get a smaller guarantee, but you can have this program and be able to support both your domestic and international business transactions.
Mr. Jeremy, I have a question for you. So nowadays, we're currently thinking about, export manufactured goods, widgets, right? And that's kind of the mindset that I think most of us have when we think about exports. But increasingly, services have become a really big export component in the U.S. and in particular software, where somebody is developing software for some particular industry sector. Strictly as an example, the banking sector, fintech, and things like that. Are any of these programs usable when doing exporting of software goods?
Correct. Yeah. So that leads up right into this slide right here. So we consider an export. This is the definition, right? Is the export transaction is the production and payment of goods with the sale of goods or services to a foreign buyer. So whether it's you have a widget or you're providing a service, software service, it qualifies as an export as long as foreign currency is coming into the U.S. So we qualify as a simple definition for us to easily determine on if this is an export transaction, and yes, services do apply as do qualify for our export finance programs.
Yeah. And, you know, one of the things, just to clarify for those maybe that who hadn't thought about the service end of it, engineering firms, architectural firms, you know, once again, software developers, accounting firms, they've become really huge exporters of their services, and so for those guys, this might be a really good tool.
Yes, spot on. Yeah, that is correct. One big thing that would, change that was recently made, that, is affecting some of our small businesses is that uh, the 100% uh, um, citizen, the 100% of the business must be owned by a U.S. citizen or have legal permanent resident status. So, typically, in many cases, this has been a problem where you'd have, 10 or 20% of the business owned by um, a foreign
Entity.
entity. And so that way the transaction would not qualify. You wouldn't qualify as with SBA financing. But EXIM does not have that. So the good thing with the government, right? We have different resource partners that can assist you. That's just one of our rules to qualify for our loan programs.
Thank you, Jeremy.
And another part to that is the SBA, we don't have a content requirement, right? So we do not have a preference on where the product was sourced from. As long as it's not from any of the prohibited countries that you're shipping the product to or sourcing it from, we can support you with in your export business, right? We can support those type of transactions. And that is the end of my presentation. I'll pause here to see if there's any questions, and I'll be happy to answer. If not, thank you all for allowing me to participate and let me share the resources that are available through the SBA.
Jeremy, thank you so much. And Eric, if you would come back on as well, that would be swell. I actually do not see, and perhaps Ms. Heidi see something differently. I at this moment don't really see any questions to the guys. That just probably indicates how good a job and thorough a job you did. So good on you. But let's go ahead and take just a minute. If somebody does want to pop a question right now, now's the time to do it.
Yes. Yes, we have a few people who just joined.
Oh, oops.
All
All right, let's start over, everyone.
Yes, we'll be recording. We are recording this, and I will get that out to you by Friday.
Perfect. And I believe Eric and Jeremy, are the slide decks available for distribution as well?
Yes, I'll get mine out.
Yeah, I mean, we
Perfect.
recognize that this is a lot of information, and just want to expose you to some of that, but we're going to make all of this information available to you as a resource that you can go back to, both in terms of the slide decks and also in case we didn't make it clear. This recording goes on YouTube, on our YouTube channel, and so it will be available for a very, very long time. We have also a significant number of other webinars that we've had over the time on different topics, obviously all international business, export, and supply chain related. And so you use it as a resource. That's what it's there for.
All right.
All right,
Well,
guys.
yep. Again, I want to thank you to our sponsors of the Arkansas Manufacturing Solutions and the Arkansas Workforce Connections. Again, without their partnerships, we wouldn't be able to put on these free webinars for the community. So thank you all. And of course, thanks to our speakers. Love having both of you guys here, and appreciate all you do for our exporters and for our banks, mostly ours. But
the guys that are on, if you might want to take a picture of this particular slide just to make that sure that you have everybody's contact information. And also, the only way we know that we're doing a good job, or we need to be doing a better job, is for you to tell us how you think we did. And so, if you would take just a minute to answer this survey, that would that would be great.
And Eric and Jeremy, if y'all want to stick around for just a minute, we can kind of finish up the conversation that we started
No
once
problem.
the webinar is over.
All right. I guess we'll go ahead and end it here, and we will see you. Let me see here, Ms. Heidi. The next one is let's see what is my deal here.
We are going to start our Grow Your Export series on
Right.
October 2nd.
Yeah, the October the 22nd will be the first of I think it's a 6-part series, and so be looking for information on that before too long. And also want to talk again about the Governor's Awards coming up on the 17th of October. It's always a fabulous event with lots of great information, and also really honoring the people in Arkansas who are doing exporting successfully. And if you can join us, that would be great. Jonathan, in terms of that, do you have any other comments?
Nope, I do not.
All right. All right, guys. Well, thank you again. And Jeremy and Eric, thank you again for making your presentation and providing such great information.
Thank you, Rudy.
Thank you, everyone.
All right.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay.